and welcome back to another episode of Dennis and the Doc. This will be our glimpse into the preview for all the great teams in this great nation for the 2023-2024 season. We're going to take a quick look at each conference, some teams we buy or sell from them, our predicted champions for each conference, as well as our projected top 25s, as well as our Final Four and champions predictions. Mr. Dennis, welcome to the National Review.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So we're going to start. We're actually recording this a day late. So the college basketball season started in earnest yesterday night. So we're going to briefly kind of touch on, we did this a little bit in our game preview of Creighton versus Florida A&M. So if you haven't seen that yet, please feel free to check it out. But we're going to start with takeaways from day one. Mr. Dennis, first thing on the docket for today.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway, and I'm pissed we didn't record this last week because I was all over this, Michigan State being 4 was the worst ranking in the AP poll. I think that was one of our mailbag questions relate to Big Ten?
Yep, so we can get to this right away. We got a mailbag question from XFL's Adam Schefter. The question was, is Michigan State overrated or is JMU actually good?
First of all, JMU's good. Like, that's a legit team that I think you're going to see should they win the Sun Belt tournament in like a 13 seed.
They're 12 or 13
yeah,
for sure.
It's going to be a trendy upset pick. They had a good year last year and then sort of faded down the stretch. That's a good team.
Are they ineligible for the tournament?
No, they were always Division I. They just changed
conferences.
Oh,
duh. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, done. Dr. Chim does not know
ball.
But Michigan State was so overrated. So my thing with Michigan State is like the fourth ranking was that they had most guys back, and it was based off like a tournament run last year. Like let's break down both parts of that. Yeah, first off, the tournament run was the Sweet 16. They were a 7 seed. Yep. And if Tyler Kolek doesn't get dinged / in foul trouble, they probably lose that game. Like, I don't think they weren't some great team. They won 2 tournament games. And in regards to everyone back, they don't have Joey Hauser, who is arguably their most impactful player last year.
Just for floor spacing too, right? Like again, like this is something neither of us was that high on Michigan State, though. You were all over that this team was in trouble.
Yes.
I said they're gonna have trouble scoring at 3 levels, and that was evident. Like they're not gonna shoot 1 for 20 every night.
No.
But they're not gonna be a good 3-point shooting team.
No. And Tyson Walker had 38 last night?
It was something in the 30s, yeah.
Tyson Walker had a great game, they still didn't win.
Yeah.
And Joey Hauser, I think by on-off numbers, was their most impactful player last year. Like, that wasn't just we lost, we sweep that in a row. Like, that's a big difference. And again, it wasn't a good team last year. Yeah. I don't get why bringing everyone back made people think it's a top 4 team. And what was even crazier was you'd have people say, FAU's not a top 10 team just because you bring everyone back and made a deep tournament run. That doesn't make you a top 10 team. Oh, by the way, I have Michigan State number 2 in the country.
Right.
You have to pick a side. One of the two is true.
Well, the funny...
FAU actually won games last year.
Michigan State, it kind of reminds you of something, doesn't it? A team that struggles a bit in the regular season, gets to the round of 32, loses to a good team.
Yeah.
Brings everybody back, and all of a sudden they're preseason top 10.
Yeah.
Lost arguably the team's most important player, Ryan Hawkins.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of similarities between that team, except we didn't go and lose to James Madison in the first week of the season.
No.
But yeah, there were question marks about us too that year. There was a lot of people saying same deal. They return everyone. Does that mean anything?
Yeah.
But I think people saw that not only was it returning production, but it was potentially very high caliber players, right? We saw the glimpses of Trey becoming the player that he was.
Yeah.
You had Kalk, who was a known commodity, right? Who just raised the floor of that team so much. Michigan State doesn't have a floor raiser right now. They got guys.
Walker.
He just played the best game you could possibly play, and they lost, right? That's another point I'm going to get to later when we talk about Arizona losing to Bellis. Sometimes those guys who have these great games when you're still struggling, those aren't your floor raisers. Those are your ceiling raisers.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the guys, if they have that game when the rest of your team is rolling, then you're really on to something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think we're in agreement there. To answer the question, it's both. Michigan State is overrated and James Madison is actually good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily going to be a team that's going to be in at-large consideration.
I saw someone say, so I think they have a road game at Kent State.
Yeah.
And I believe they're going to be favored in every other non-con game and probably every Sun Belt game.
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to think who number 2 in the Sun Belt is right now. It was, regardless. Oh, App State is up there.
Okay.
So maybe the road game there, they won't be.
Yeah.
I think App State's got Auburn coming in to play them in Boone, too.
They play, Ken Palm has them a dog at Kent State. They play Kent State Thursday. So
Yeah.
that'll be a big game.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 2 big ones to start the year. And then he has them losing by 1 at Southern Miss, 2 at App State, and 1 at Marshall. So,
Yeah.
I mean, every other game's a projected win.
I mean, if you roll into March 29-4, you're going to be in that conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where it's going to be, but because
No,
I mean that's the problem. The Sun Belt, you lose 7 games, you're not getting an at-large. Like, doesn't matter what your non-conference
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, I think that's by far the biggest takeaway. I'll say the other takeaway for me was the USC-Kansas State game.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas State looked like shit.
Yep.
Tyler Perry shot bad, which I wouldn't be concerned about yet. You have a little cause for concern anytime there's an up transfer with how they'll translate. I don't really have that concern with him. I think he'll be fine. I just kind of had an off night. Our buddy Arthur Kaluma did not look good.
Right. To reiterate some talking points from our discussion in the game preview, like, you kind of would figure, like, it's sink or swim for him this year in a starring role, so to speak, right? Like, he's got way more freedom in that offense. He's going to take way more shots this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big sink in game 1.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, USC's guards look good.
Yep. And that's the unknown with them, right? Like, they can go as far as those two can take them.
Yeah.
So it's really, I'll be interested to see. I think they will contend in the Pac-12 after watching that game.
I mean, Collier looked really good. Kobe
Yeah.
Johnson, who I watched Kobe Johnson a few times in high school, I never thought he'd get to this level. Not entirely sold on Enfield as a coach, ceiling-wise.
Right.
But they look good.
Yep. I mean, we'll get to this, my second time mentioning them already, so I must be excited to talk about them, but I'm very high on Arizona this year, which I think I fall into the trap of doing every year.
Yeah. This will be the year they make the Final Four, trust me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've picked them to win like 3 of the last 4 national titles, so I'm almost making that same mistake again this year, but not quite. But yeah, K-State, it's not panic time yet. Tang showed last year that he got better as the season went on. They figured out an identity as the season went on. But it definitely is a point of concern. We did mention this on our other episode as well, but the Big East is one of only 3 conferences that avoided a loss on day 1. Only the ACC and Pac-12 also managed that. Our strength of schedule took a hit a little bit as Oklahoma State lost to not a horrible team in Abilene Christian. They'll figure to be in the 110 to 130 range in Ken Palm probably. So that's not a brutal loss. OK State on the road should still stay a quad 1 performance. And then Kenny Payne finally gets a win in an opener at Louisville, beating UMBC 94-93.
They've played ACT teams tough before.
Oh yeah, yep.
Don't question
It's
wins.
definitely the same Golden Retriever squad that knocked off Virginia. It's a feather in the cap for Kenny Payne.
Don't question wins.
So, got anything else on day 1 of college basketball?
No, I don't think so.
All right, then we can move into. We're gonna take a look at each conference. There are 31 of them. We're gonna talk about each of them just a little bit. We're either just gonna pick a winner or tell you a couple of teams that we buy or sell. Are you prepared for that?
We'll get prepared.
All right. I mean, So, like, do you want me? I was just gonna go alphabetical order.
Go first, sure.
With the ASUN. Not a whole lot to report here. I'm picking Eastern Kentucky to win the league this year. It should be fairly competitive at the top. But aside from that, not a whole lot to go off of.
Yeah, I think Eastern Kentucky probably is the pick. Kennesaw State lost a lot of their guys from last year. Liberty's gone.
Yep. So moving over to the American East, and this might be a two-dog race at the top here. UMass Lowell and Vermont both figuring to be about the same metric-wise, but Lowell is the hot pick this year, and it is the one I'm going to go for.
Not going to overthink it. I'm going to take Vermont.
All right. Pick the name on the front.
Yep.
The American Conference, we can slide over there. Mr. Dennis, your thoughts on the American this year with some new teams coming in and some old teams departing?
Yeah, this is the most random collection of teams. Like, I don't think I can name this conference from scratch.
No, I name all 365 D1 teams this year is so much harder if you try to go conference by conference.
American Conference USA, fuck me. I think Memphis wins this. I took them. We are in a big gambling podcast, but I'll throw in my plays every now and then. I took Memphis at just under 2-1. I think FAU taking another step up in competition. I don't love their secret scrimmage results where they kind of got housed.
Right. Yeah. I'm in the same boat. Memphis has a better roster than I think most people assume this year.
Like a lot better if Williams got his waiver.
Yeah, Quinterly down there, who just seems to perpetually be in college.
Yeah.
It's an old roster, even with him not being there. Yeah, I think the step up for FAU is just a bit too much, especially because they'll still have that target on their back.
Yeah.
And they're going to, a few tougher places to play. Like, not a lot of these have great atmospheres, but, like dropping a game at UAB is definitely, possible now.
Yep.
I'm low on Wichita State from this conference. The metrics seem to like them, but I don't really understand why. I think it's no better than a, top maybe 100 KenPom team. I don't think they'll be anywhere near at-large consideration.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with them.
But yeah, I could see Memphis, because I don't think they have a brutal non-conference this year. I could see them working their way up into the top 15.
I think they play Missouri coming up here.
So if that's another, like, if they win that game, I could
Missouri
easily
Friday.
see them being like 14-0, 15-0 to start the year or something like that. Unless I'm forgetting anyone obvious.
They actually have a harder schedule. They play at Missouri, at A&M, home versus Clemson, home versus Virginia.
Oh, okay, there's some losable games in there.
Yeah.
You go 3-1 in that, though, you're going to be ranked.
Yeah.
Probably top 20.
Yep.
Okay, to the ACC, plenty to talk about here. It looks like yet another down year for the conference.
Yeah, I think I agree with. It's just hard. The bottom's so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's roster is one of the worst in power conference history. This roster is so bad, and they'll still be better than Louisville because the coaching is so ridiculous. I know we disagree on coaching.
How much
that
coaching
is one of,
matters.
I think that's one of the few things that we can see eye to eye on, like Shrewsbury versus numbnuts Kenny Payne.
That's a
It's
difference
worth
of
probably
3 wins,
It's worth probably 15 points on a spread if you
if
you swapped the two. I'm saying if you swapped the two coaches.
Yes, yeah, that's
if you
actually
give Shrewsbury and Payne, like, that would be a fun experiment. Give Kenny Payne Notre Dame's roster. Holy shit!
I'm not sure they would. Would they win a game? Is a good question.
No,
that's
an
actually good question.
They would not win. Let's look at Louisville's schedule. They play 359 Coppin State. Do they win that game?
I'll give them that game.
Yeah, they can have that one. Okay.
It was unprecedented how bad Louisville was last year. That just doesn't happen.
I think they were ranked number 1 like 3 years ago.
It was not that long.
Yeah.
It was not that long ago.
Okay. Anyways, so for the power conferences, I'll kind of have a buy and sell team.
Yep.
As crazy as it is, Louisville's 139 in KenPom. I'll still sell them. They're not going to finish top 200. Like,
no.
That's still they're picked 14th in the ACC, 139 in KenPom.
Like, I don't think people understand. They got worse from last year.
Yeah, I'll still sell that team.
Yeah.
Do you have a buy from this conference?
Do I have a buy? I do, and it's Miami. The metrics do not like them. I think they filled the right gaps. I really like Cleveland coming in there. Mm-hmm. Wooga Poplar fits their system really well. So I like their starting 5. It's going to be another like feast or famine team because they will not play a whole lot of defense.
Yeah.
But they've got something rolling right now, and I think the metrics are way too low on them.
Yeah. I'll actually pick a team right next to Miami. I'll take Clemson as my buy.
Yep.
I think PJ Hall, if he stays healthy, can have a monster year and a dark horse player of the year type of thing. If Clemson has a good year, he puts up 22 and 11, which I think is on the table.
Yeah.
I can see a route where that happens. Brunell finds a way perpetually not to get fired every year.
Yeah.
And I think he needs a tournament year to keep his job, so I think he gets it.
Well, they're a team we've mentioned here on the podcast before because record-wise last year, 15 years ago, they're in the tournament.
Yeah, if Ken Palm didn't exist.
Yeah, so I don't think they're that far away. I do have them making the tournament. I did also kind of plan like how many from each conference I see making it.
Mm-hmm.
My sell from the ACC, though, is Virginia Tech. I don't see enough on the roster there. I think they'll be Torvik has them top 40 offense and a top 60 defense. I don't see either of those happening.
Yeah, I agree.
So your sell from the ACC?
Louisville.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, prop bet question. Kenny Payne, does he see January 1st?
Yes.
I'll say no.
I really do. I think they'll win just enough games in non-conference.
I'll say no.
Like, if they go, because I don't think they're playing much of anybody either.
I wonder why.
Well, yeah.
They played Chattanooga, Coppin State, Texas. That could be fun. New Mexico State, Bellarmine. A random Virginia Tech game, DePaul, Arkansas State, Pepperdine. The Louisville-Arkansas State over-under could be 200. Arkansas State just gave up 105 to Wisconsin last night.
Yeah.
That was another takeaway. Wisconsin looked good last night.
They did look good. I was not expecting 105.
I'm as high on Wisconsin as anyone, and I was not expecting 105.
Right. All right, so we journey. So I had 4 teams making it from the ACC. I got Duke winning it. Carolina, Duke, Miami, and Clemson making the tournament.
No Virginia?
No Virginia.
I'll say 5 with Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love that. I think they're going to play the hell out of. I think it's a top 15 defense, but I don't see it coming together for them.
I think Rhodey can give them some offense.
I don't know, right? Like, again, up transfer, you don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I think he does actually fit their system pretty well, but you never know until you know.
Beekman's still there, right?
Yeah.
They got 3 Wisconsin guys on that team.
Oh, yeah.
You got Rhodey, him, and Leon Bond.
They've been recruiting the Midwest, clearly.
They're basically just Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Betting connection.
So the A10, always fun to talk about the A10. I mean, I wrote some of this before yesterday, so like VCU was one of my buys, and they lost last night to Will Wade's McNeese State, which I'm not going to pretend that's like a horrible. I think by the end of the year, McNeese is hanging right around 100 in Ken Palm.
I don't think they're that good.
You don't. I think he gets them there. How many Southland games are they going to lose?
Well, not lose any, but it's tough to pick up a lot of rankings in that conference. Whatever.
I suppose.
I think they're a decent team.
Yeah, I like Ryan Odom, and then he's bringing over Shulga and Bairstow from Utah State. They both shoot it pretty well.
One of them's hurt, right?
One of them's hurt. I don't know which one. But yeah, if they get healthy, I like them to win the A10. I was down on Loyola. I did a little more dig. I'm not as down anymore. Alston he's a player. Braden Norris is somehow still there. They picked up a guard from Cornell who was really efficient in their system last year. I don't know. It's not that bad of a team. They'll certainly do better than they did last year. I figure they'll be in top 4 in the A10 probably.
Yeah, I'll say Dayton's my pick to win it, just because by default I hate this conference.
Yeah,
like it's bad teams. My sell, I think I'll sell St. Joseph's. I know they're getting some dark horse in the conference buzz. Don't really see it.
Yeah, I'm selling Fordham. I think it's going to finally wear off a little bit. I saw some people just today picking them to win the conference. Do not see that happen. I don't see them finishing.
OT to beat Wagner last night.
Yeah, I don't see them finishing in the top 5 in the A10 this year. So we move over now to the Big Ten, and we get to answer another mailbag question. This was part of a 3-parter from Mickey Tank Bank, one of our loyal followers. So he asked, like, real honest opinions on Big Ten basketball. Where are we at? We are 2 people that both grew up in Big Ten country. So
yeah.
What's your take? Like, honest take, Big Ten basketball, not just yesterday, as a whole.
I think the title drought is overrated, first of all. I mean, Wisconsin easily could have won it, and they're a shot away from winning it in 14. They lost in the Final Four in 14. I think they probably win it if they get there. They're up 9 in the second half in 15. Michigan a couple of years back gets a 1 seed. starter goes down,
Right.
lose. Illinois gets a 1 seed, plays a team ranked top 12 in Ken Pom in the second round, lose.
Yeah.
I think there's some variance. I think there's a lot of tournament variance. I think there's something to be said about it being a big man centric league and good coaches in the tournament being able to scheme big man out of the game, which I think is partially why you've seen the tournament struggles recently. So I think it's a mix of both, of negative variance and how the conference is built.
Yeah.
With that being said, spoiler alert, Purdue, I have them national runner-up this year. And yeah, I think the conference as a whole is fine. Like I said, I hated Michigan State.
It's one of those things too. Like I see people complaining about this a lot, that they officiate a different way during the season than it gets officiated in March.
Yeah.
They let a lot more banging bodies go.
Yeah.
And that does matter, right? Because if your big man is all of a sudden you're playing in the tournament and your big man's got 3 fouls in the first half, like that matters, right? So I don't know how much that really comes into play. I agree with you. The drought is overrated. If anything, it's just a lack of elite teams, like the real like top line teams. But you forget like the Zion Duke team, Michigan State beat them.
Yeah.
Right, like the Kentucky team, Wisconsin
wins the title.
Right.
Almost every other year. That
Yeah.
2015 team.
Yeah. So that's really, to me, I don't care about the no title thing. Like that is just a matter of circumstance sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting teams to the Sweet 16 lately though, and that's where I draw the concern. Where it seems like it's become over the last like 3 years, especially a predictable result that you can pretty much stop putting Big Ten teams in your Elite Eight.
Yeah.
And that's a concern. So I don't know. This year, it doesn't look great across the board. Like again, the only team I'm absolutely sure of is Purdue.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's another like top 4 conference where I would say that.
Yeah, I think the ACC has questions behind. Although I think the ACC and Pac-12 both have questions behind.
Well, I feel better about USC now, and I feel decent about Carolina this year.
Carolina was tied at half to Radford yesterday.
Yeah, I know, and they could still wind up stinking it up. But I like the transfers. I like the freshmen there. So.
Yeah, I was impressed by USC, but let's wait and see. In my eyes, the only top 20 team Enfield's ever had was Evan Mobley.
Yeah. All right, so Big Ten, I'm buying Illinois.
Okay.
I really like Illinois. I'll talk more about them when we get to our top 25. I think they brought in the right transfers. I'm a big Terrence Shannon fan. I think they've got enough this year.
Okay.
The front court's a little versatile. It's not as like Coburn dependent as it was in years previous.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like the Illini this year, and I like Northwestern and Michigan to exceed their current position. Not by a whole lot. Like if you give me one buy, I'm definitely taking Illinois.
Okay. My buy is Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I'm a little biased. I grew up a Wisconsin fan. I still am a Wisconsin fan. I think Storer was a huge piece. I would have said this before last night, but after watching them last night, I think the depth is way. Connor Seaton got hurt 5 minutes into the game, and they still put up 105. Where last year, if you lost any of those top 6 guys, the team looked like shit.
Yeah.
So I think they have more depth. I think this team plays better together. They're going to defend. They're going to protect home court. They have a brutal non-con, but I like Wisconsin a lot.
Yeah. And my sell is Iowa. I'll be honest, I don't see it with this roster. Perkins doesn't do it for me. Sanford is probably a breakout guy, but even still, I don't know how much he can truly like dominate a game. They're a little bit in between size-wise. They don't have any towers. They're not real short either. Like I don't know. I struggle to see the defense isn't going to be there, and I don't think this team has the offensive firepower of years past. Like I'm fully expecting this team to get rolled when they show up to Omaha next week.
Okay. My sell, as I've said before, it's Michigan State.
Yeah.
Call it cheating. I don't care. I've been out on them all year.
So I gave Purdue the title. Again, I'm big on Purdue. I told you, like you gave me the option the other day of like one take you'll defend this year. I said if Purdue stays healthy, they're the overall number 1 seed in March.
Okay. Yeah, I say Purdue wins the Big Ten.
Yeah. So I had 7 Big Ten teams making the tournament. I've still got Sparty getting in there I'm pretty sure they'll make it. The thing I
get in.
Well, the thing I said, I'm like, I think even catastrophe for them this season is a 9 seed.
Yeah.
Purdue and Illinois are my other locks, and then I've got 4 of Wisconsin, Northwestern, Indiana, Maryland, Michigan. I think it could be 4 of those 5.
Okay.
To the Big East, we've talked a lot about the Big East, so we'll be quick on this. I'm sure the team you're buying is the Johnnies.
Yep.
I am going, to be honest, I guess I go with UConn because I picked them to win the conference. My sell is, I guess it has to be, I don't know. I don't know if I've really got a team like way lower than the consensus in the Big East.
I'll sell Providence.
Yeah, okay. I do have UConn winning the regular season. Again, I had like them, Marquette, and us all finishing within a game of each other, so not a big deal. I had 6 tournament teams. I've got Providence squeaking in, and then the big 3, Nova and the Johnnies.
Yeah.
Okay. Big 12.
Oh wait, no Providence for me.
Yeah, I assumed so.
I'll say Xavier sneaks in.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I trust Sean Miller. That roster is just so brutal. Into the Big 12, who are you buying in the Big 12?
This is going to be like, I don't know, am I even allowed to buy this team? I'll buy Kansas. I think they win I'll say they win the conference semi-easily.
I actually agree. For as much as I've kind of said so far, like, I don't think Kansas is going to be that good.
Mm-hmm.
It's still Bill Self, and I do still think they will win the conference easily.
Yeah. For my other buy, I'll take Texas Tech.
Okay.
I think McCaslin's a very good coach. I think he's going to have them to defend. Yeah, I'll take Texas Tech as my other buy.
I got Iowa State as mine, which is a little bit of a homer pick. They looked good last night, but I liked them before that. Big 5-star freshman coming in playing the 4. I like Lipsy at point guard.
Is that Momcilovic or is that someone else?
No, Omaha Biliu.
Yeah, okay,
yeah. But no, Momcilovic also looked really good last night.
He's a really nice player.
Yeah, 18 points first game as a freshman is not easy. I really like Otzelberger. I think he's got an identity, and I think that's big when you have a mix, right? Like there are a lot of really old teams this year, and they're probably starting 2 freshmen about half the time. Like, depending on where they find their rotation eventually, they're gonna play 2 freshmen big minutes, and I really like when those kind of players come into established programs. That's why it worked for us, right? Because we had an identity that R2, Trey, and whoever and Kaluma could play in.
Yep.
So I like that for them. I like them to exceed expectations this year.
And your sells?
My sell is Kansas State, and I did have that one before yesterday. I do just think that little of Kaluma as an impact player. I think they just need more horses than they have. I do absolutely believe Tang is a good coach. We'll see about great, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm not that high on them. The metrics aren't that high either. I see this team missing the tournament.
Okay, I have 2 sells here. I'm going to sell Houston and I'm going to sell Texas. I'm going to sell Houston because they haven't beat that many really good teams, despite what the metrics say. They punked Arizona in the tournament, but I kind of wonder how their game's going to translate when you don't have 3/4 of the games against Temple and Tulsa, and you can just physically overwhelm them. Getting beat up in hostile arenas every night, I'm going to sell that. Texas, I'm going to sell. I think Rodney Terry's a terrible coach. I think you sort of had to give him the full-time job, but he didn't do a great job last year. He was given the keys to a Lambo and didn't crash it.
Yeah.
I worry how Max Asmus is going to transfer. Again, they do not play defense in the Summit. Texas is my sell. I'll go as far as to say they're bubbly.
Wow. I mean, I'll be honest, I really like the roster construction. Like, I think they've got a lot of pieces. Like, I think I like Shedrick more than most.
Okay.
Disu is potentially a top 5 player in the Big 12, like, without even mentioning the guards, because I'm iffy on Asmus and Hunter this year. Like, I think they clash a little bit too much, maybe, is in the same role.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I like Texas for the most part. Houston, I kind of agree with you. I think it's a different roster construction than they're used to this year. Like, if Cryer is good for them, then their ceiling is the same place it always is.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't expect them to compete for a regular season title. I think they're going to get beat up in a lot of people's gyms. So, All right, I got 6 teams coming out of the Big 12 with Tech being right there on the bubble. I had Kansas, Houston, Texas, TCU, ISU, and Baylor.
I'll go Houston, Kansas, Baylor, Texas Tech, Iowa State, and Texas is the last 4 in.
Wow. That is it. You cannot argue we do not give you bold predictions.
Yeah, it's no fun. Like, I'll stick to my takes and say what I believe, even if I slightly have to overdo it a little bit.
Why not? Big Sky. I got the Grizzlies.
I took Weber State.
Yeah, why not? Big South, I like Asheville as one of the 3, I think, Carolina teams I'm picking.
Not SC Upstate, I'll tell you that much.
No, not going to be them.
Yeah, I'd say probably Asheville as long as Pember's healthy.
And then the Big West, I like Long Beach this year, but I'm not going to pick them to win it. I'll just stick with UCI.
I love this conference, first of all. And yeah, I'll stick with UCI.
I think Long Beach will be up there. Hawaii will be up there. Could be fun. Could be a little bit of fun.
That's a great late night conference.
Yeah. Conference USA. I'm sorry, not Conference USA. The Colonial.
I was gonna say, name the teams in Conference USA.
The Colonial, UNC Wilmington projects a pretty efficient starting 5. But again, I'll close my eyes and I'll pick Charleston.
Yeah. Our resident CAA expert is big on the Seahawks.
He is, yeah. We got a guy who we're in a group with where we play sort of a draft a team at the beginning of the season and see how they do game, and he predicted the rise of the Cougars of Charleston last year. So
yeah,
he's on the Seahawks this year.
So I'm gonna defer to our CAA expert. I'll just pick Wilmington for no other reason.
So now we can go to Conference USA, and it is not your slightly older brother's Conference USA anymore. Liberty is the projected champion. I kind of like Louisiana Tech, bringing in Daniel Bacho from Texas Tech. He's an old Jays recruit.
I believe Bacho didn't play last night, and they still were up on Colorado State for a lot of the game.
Yeah, I saw that one was close. So I like Louisiana Tech this year. I will pick Liberty to win the conference, but that would not surprise me either.
If Bacho's healthy, I'll take Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, okay. The Horizon, I think we'll probably be in agreement here. Wright State looks pretty loaded this year.
Horizon? I don't know if we are in agreement.
Really?
The Horizon's...
It's a good conference.
It's a close conference.
That's what I mean. It's a competitive conference. I'll say that.
Yeah, probably still Wright State. Milwaukee had a best player suspended last night for a violation of team rules. But I mean, Lundy's a really good coach there. He won Big at Queens, turned the program around in a year. I wouldn't be shocked to see them make a run. That's just such a stupid program.
Well, this is the conference. It always I think we joke about this because we're also in a pool where we pick the conference champions from every tournament.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not picking the 3 or 4 seed from the Horizon tournament, you're doing it wrong. Because it seems like the team that should go to the NCAAs out of this conference never does.
No.
Northern Kentucky's always pretty good. Cleveland State's always pretty good, at least of late. But no, I like Wright State to win it this year. I think they could even be fringe at large if things go well for them this year. I could see them being like 25-6.
That doesn't get you in that large.
It gets you in the point where you're like on the graphic. I think they get. I wouldn't be stunned.
I can't go there.
The Ivy is also one of those where I'm gonna call it good. Torvik has it projected as the 11th ranked conference this year, ahead of the A10. The bottom is not great. It's definitely a top 4 and a bottom 4. Yale figures to win the conference. Princeton's coming off a Sweet 16, and they just beat Rutgers last night. Brown and Cornell have interesting pieces there. I'm taking Yale to win the conference, but Princeton really wouldn't stun me.
Yeah, I'll take Yale.
Back to the MAAC. Iona still figures to be top dog there. I'm low on Tobin Anderson, but I don't think it's going to matter just yet.
Why are you low on him?
It's just one of those moves that seems premature. Like, I don't know if this is like PTSD from how Shaw is not working out at Seton Hall. I'm like, it's kind of in the same vein for me as guy gets the move maybe before he's quite ready, and you just hope it's going to be a recruiting boost more than it's actually a coaching decision.
He won a lot in D2. I think he's fine. I just think he's a good coach.
I mean, FDU was 302 when they beat Purdue. It was 302 in
conference.
Or it was 302 in net or something like that.
Bad conference.
Yeah, but like at some point you got to win games in a bad conference. Then if
Tough
everything's
job.
relative, you know,
Tough job.
they finished fourth in that conference.
Tough job.
Yeah.
It was year one.
It was, but you know, I don't know.
Finished 345th the year before.
You don't win that game and nobody has any idea what your name is.
Probably not.
The MAC, it has also like a fun little quadrant of Ohio teams. You got the Bobcats, Kent State, Akron, and Toledo. I think Kent State is the safe pick. I'm going to take Ohio just because I think it'd be fun. Reef isn't even projecting to start there. I don't think he did.
Yeah.
So I don't mind. I'll take the Bobcats.
I'll take Akron.
The MEAC, it's either going to be Howard or Norfolk State, seemingly. I'll take Howard, I guess.
This conference sucks.
It's so bad.
Sure, Howard, I don't care.
Is it worse than the SWAC? It probably is.
Delaware State's picked for 4th, and they lost by 34 yesterday to Penn State.
Missouri Valley is a little bit down this year, I think. I'm a little worried about Drake this year. I'm not so sure they'll be right back where they were last year. I think they lost a few pieces that probably helped take some of the load off DeVry.
DeVries, I think.
It is DeVry. When it was coming out, I'm like, that's not right.
That's an online university.
Yeah.
DeVry.
So I think I'll actually take Bradley to win the conference this year. They beat UAB last night, I think. They got I don't know how you say his name. Malevi Lyons, big scoring wing. He's effective in good games.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me the Braves this year. It seems like they pop a run every now and then.
I'll take Northern Iowa.
Okay.
They got a big game tonight against are they St. Mary's tonight? North Texas.
Yeah, that's right. It was on Rothstein's games to watch tonight. So.
Okay.
Mountain West Conference. I will defer right away to our resident expert.
Our resident Mountain West expert. First of all, if you're not watching the Mountain West, watch this conference. It is so fucking fun. Like, there are 7 teams that are all pretty close to each other. There's not a lot of defense played. There's a lot of scoring. There's a lot of talented guards.
I wouldn't say there's not a lot of defense played.
New Mexico, Boise State, Nevada, Colorado State, UNLV, Utah State do not play defense.
You got 7 projected top 100 defenses.
Let's see. New Mexico projected 61 defense. Yeah, okay.
Kent Torvik has them 98th.
That's what was their defense last year? It was 120th. Yeah, that's about right.
That's closer. Yeah.
But this conference is so fun. New Mexico's guards, like their trio of guards, there's maybe like 3 teams in the country that would take their guards over New Mexico's.
What's House, Mashburn,
and Donovan Dent.
Oh, okay.
Dent was a true freshman, came off the bench, started for House a couple games when he was hurt. I'm a huge Lobos fan.
Yep.
They're my 3rd team as of now. I'm picking them to win the conference this year. I'll sell San Diego State. I think they lost a good amount off their...
they definitely did.
They lost a lot off their team last year, and they won, as somebody who watched a lot of Mountain West last year, they won a lot of close games.
Yeah. I think that's part of, like, just the way they play.
But they were bad at executing late in games, too.
Well, it's because they don't really have a go-get-you-a-bucket guy.
Yeah.
They have a go-get-to-the-foul line guy, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that team was not and is not set up to score more than 55 points a game.
No.
Like, Trammell's a perfectly fine point guard, but they don't. Like, Bradley's gone now.
Yeah.
Keyshawn Johnson's gone. Menso is such a huge part of that team. Anthony's gone, Arope's gone, Psycho's gone. Like it's all these guys that were like such a part of that system are gone, and they've got some score. They've got options. I think it'll still be a top 25 team.
Ledee, Butler.
Yeah, Ledee looked good last year.
Reese Waters or
Dixon Waters.
No,
is
now
the
it's
guy.
just Reese Waters.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It was in whatever.
Not whatever. What does
But
Bill
he-
Walton call him? Like Reese Davis.
Oh, I don't know.
He does not call him the right thing.
But yeah, he was the guy who I think he had like 2 or 3 and ones against us a couple years ago in the tournament. I want to say.
Yeah.
So they got a few guys. I'm not selling hard on them. I think they're appropriately ranked, probably in the mid to high 20s.
Yeah.
I sold Nevada. I think of the top 5 or 6, I think they'll finish below Colorado State and UNLV.
Yeah, I think that would be my sell too. My buy is New Mexico, but I'm so biased. I love them. I love Boise State.
I said I'm buying, like, I would buy Colorado State, I'd buy UNLV, and I'd buy the top 2, New Mexico and Boise.
A little worried about Colorado State's rebounding. They got killed on the glass last night against Louisiana Tech. But seriously, watch this conference. This conference is awesome.
Wyoming's the only team above 150, basically.
Yeah.
And even they're kind of an outlier in that regard with the circumstances they have. So, yeah, like last year, Air Force was the worst team in the conference, and if you watch them play, like, it's good basketball.
Yeah.
Go to the Northeastern Conference, which if we spend more than
basketball.
Yeah, if we spend more than 10 seconds on it, I'm picking Wagner.
I refuse to pick a champion. In this
Yeah,
one.
they don't deserve
I
one.
refuse to.
They should have their
last.
tournament bid retracted.
I picked them all for last. Yeah, and to be fair, they did win a tournament game last year.
Yeah, that's not important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I refuse to pick them. There's no winners. There's only you are the loser. You're the winner by not watching this conference.
OVC kind of in a similar vein. God, I missed the good
too.
days
Yeah.
of OVC. At least you would have like 2 top teams in there.
Belmont, Murray State.
Yeah. So now it's Tennessee State, I guess, is who I'm picking this year.
I'll pick
Not going to pretend I
Morehead.
know anything about it.
I'll pick Morehead State. You want to know one of the most impressive coaching jobs in history? Chris Beard's Little Rock team finished 56th in KenPom.
Huh.
That's insane. Their only other...
That was the 12 seed?
Yeah. Do you know Porter Moser coached there too?
I did not know that.
Porter Moser had them to a top... He had them finish 97 in 2002.
The cradle of coaches, Little Rock.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Well, we're into the Pac. I had 3 bid Mountain West, by the way. San Diego State, New
I
Mexico.
was campaigning for 5 last year. I think we got 4. Yeah, we'll go 3-bid Mountain West.
All right, so we're into the Pac-12. Who are you buying in the Pac-12?
My Cal Golden Bears.
Yeah, knew it was coming.
Close win to St. Thomas notwithstanding. That's
Hey, it
carrying the
happens.
team. I was
It
going to say it
happens.
happens. If you
Yeah.
beating St. Thomas, no matter how much, by how much in your first game of the season is an accomplishment that
Yep.
should be celebrated.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we agree, though, that team is not going to finish above 100. Right? Like, that's
Cal?
just ridiculous. Yeah. You think they're going to finish higher than 100?
If they had Jalen Tyson, yes.
No. I mean, like, above 100. Like, 101 and...
Oh.
I think there's no way they're not a double-digit team, basically.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I
It's a
can
lot
get
of
there.
double
Yeah,
digits.
Mark Madsen's such a massive coaching upgrade. Can I go on my Stanford rant yet?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Stanford, what the fuck are you doing? Why is Jared Haas still your coach? Do you realize how much talent he's pissed away? You've never made a tournament with him. He's been here for, what is this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is year 8. They've never made a tournament. Your best finish is 20-12 in the 2020 COVID season. He's had 1 top 50 team.
Yeah.
What the like? Hire a different coach. You had your rock star alum who led Utah Valley to back-to-back top 75 finishes, who was all ready to take the job. Instead, you said, no, let's run it back with Numbnuts, who went 14-19 last year with 2 All-Americans on the damn team. You've had multiple first-round picks under him. Like, He gets talent. He doesn't do anything with it. Why is he your coach?
For the
Fire him.
recruiting, I guess, but at some point you have to
Gives
realize,
a
like,
shit.
yeah, it doesn't mean anything if you don't do something with them.
And especially, he gets the guys, they realize the team sucks and they leave.
Yeah. Well,
Ingram left.
how easy should it be to recruit to fucking Stanford,
I
right?
think, to be fair, their transfer rules are slightly, they're hard. But
Okay, they're not the only team that has to deal
No.
with that, though.
No, they're not. You let your biggest rival get probably a top 3 mid-major coach this last cycle.
From the yeah, for sure, I'd say that.
It's what, Madsen, McCaslin, anyone else?
I don't know if I thought about it, maybe.
Yeah, probably. For the sake of this argument, top 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck? Fire Jared Haas. Jared Haas can't coach. I don't care if he's a nice guy. I'm selling Stanford.
And I'm selling UCLA.
I'll sell. I like that a lot. I'll sell them as well.
Yeah, don't see it. Just don't see it. I like Bona. He's not going to win games by himself, though, and I'm not seeing
He's
it.
hurt too, isn't he?
I don't know that, actually.
So you have someone else?
But anyway, I'm buying Arizona.
Yeah.
I said it earlier. I actually really, really like Arizona this year. I think they will be on par with last season's team. Because I think at some point you guys get, like, the people who are ranking them in, like, the high teens, low 20s preseason, stop looking at what they did last March when you're ranking them.
Yeah.
It's a really fucking good team. Like, if Caleb Love can play within a system even whatsoever, that's going to be a really good basketball team.
And maybe their system needs one, like doofus. They had Kirk Kriisa.
Well, I mean, like, if you can be an upgrade on basically, like, the destruction he caused that program. Like, Boswell's good. He was good as a freshman. He's going to be better this year. Love is good when he's on, right? Ballo, I think, is one of the most underrated bigs in the country.
Just load.
Keyshawn Johnson, I think, is a great piece for them, two-way from San Diego State. I don't know if he's going to start necessarily or not, or if he did or not. But I like him. I like the starting 5. So, at some point you say, okay, that's worth something. Like Larson, it's a good starting 5. I think it's one of the best starting 5s in the country.
Yeah.
If they manage to get through the Pac-12 pretty easily, which they should, I like the I mean, again, spoiler, I have them as my national runner-up, so
Okay.
I do. I like the team this year, and I'm picking them to win the conference. I've got 4 teams coming out of the Pac-12: USC, Arizona, Colorado, and Oregon.
So USC, Arizona. I'm high on Cal. I'm not going to go that high.
Yeah.
If Tyson was there, I'd pick him. Arizona, USC. I'll say Oregon. Goodson.
Yeah. All right. Patriot League, Colgate. Yep. SEC. So this is it's ranked 1 in Torvik right now, but I don't know if that's just because of all the games that happened the other day. But
It's ranked 2 in Ken Pom.
wide open, right?
Yeah.
5-6 teams maybe could win it.
Yeah.
I saw like some people picking Florida. Maybe you can make the argument for 7. Are you taking them?
I think they're a good bet at 10-1.
I mean, they're my buy team. I just
That's my buy. I think the roster fits better this year. I think Golden's still a good coach. Florida's my buy.
I had Florida and Ole Miss as my buys.
Sure.
Just because I don't see Beard finishing. What are they, 61? Like, I don't think that's happening.
Ole Miss has. Oh, can I sell South Carolina ranked 61st in Ken Pom right now? Absolutely not.
61.
They were 66, and they beat SC Upstate by like 35 yesterday.
Yeah, I'll sell that. They're 103 in Torvik.
Yeah.
I'd sell that.
There's
too.
a 0% chance South Carolina finishes as a top 100 team.
Yeah. I sold Alabama. And I don't think they'll be that bad. I just think, and we've talked about this already, like I think the roster construction is just odd. I think it's going to take a while for them to get the pieces moving. So I still think they probably make the tournament, but they're not going to be a top 20 team.
Yeah. I'll sell Kentucky as well.
Okay.
I think Calipari's washed or burned out.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I ended up putting them in my top 25, but it's mostly just based on, okay, this is so much talent that you shouldn't be fucking it up, but you will. SoCon. There's my third UNC mention. I'll go with Greensboro.
Sure.
Yeah. Southland, you got to go with the Cowboys. Got to go with Will Wade's fighting Cowboys.
My McNeese State Cowboys absolutely throttled VCU at home. Hey, what do you know? Now they're projected to win the conference by 3 games. I thought the easiest bet of all conference futures. McNeese State at +20. They have Power 6 down transfers. They have maybe a top 25 coach in the country. This conference sucks. McNeese was the easiest bet of all conference futures.
And then the SWAC, again, the sooner we're done talking about it, the Jays will get to play a conference champ. I've got Texas Southern.
Not Florida A&M.
Not Florida A&M. Why are we playing 2 SWAC teams this year?
Equality.
Yeah.
I love on the matchup percent chance to win. Florida A&M Tuesday at Creighton 0%.
I don't like that, but all right.
We're not losing.
I know, but Summit League.
Oh, and you want to know? Wait, real quick. You want to know how bad? There's 3 teams picked worse than Florida A&M. Florida A&M's projected to go 7-10 in this conference.
I would try to guess who they are, but I have no idea where conferences are. I mean, what is it, like Grambling?
What the fuck is going?
Grambling was good
Okay,
last
I don't
year.
know. Why are teams playing different amount of conference games?
I don't know.
Yes, Arkansas Pine Bluff playing 10 conference games. What the fuck? Why are they only playing a 20-game schedule according to this?
They're broke, probably.
What the fuck? Alright, whatever. I was talking swag.
There you go. We're gonna have a segment now.
Yep, talking swag. This is still bad. That was talking swag.
Did the SWAC win any non-conference games this week?
Nope.
All right, great.
They won 2 live. Remember the Pac-12 did that like SWAC challenge last year?
Did they really?
I think the SWAC beat it. Like Arizona State lost to Texas Southern.
I knew that one.
And I think Cal lost to Southern, which
that rings a bell.
Cal doesn't count.
Okay. Summit League, I got South Dakota State winning it, and if you gave me a bye, I'd say bye St. Thomas.
Sure. Yeah, I agree on both.
Sun Belt, Fun Belt. Yeah, I certainly was gonna. If you weren't gonna pick James Madison already, I think you got to do it now.
Yep, that's my pick. I'll buy, even though they gave up 105 to Wisconsin, I'll buy Arkansas State. I actually like their guards, and I think long term that program's gonna look pretty solid. Which
I feel like what I mean, yeah, why not?
so they got that Alabama assistant. He's been recruiting. They got a couple 4-stars.
Really?
Yeah. Also, quick Sunbelt shout out. If you're in Louisiana Monroe and you lost 84-31 to Houston yesterday, would you quit that? Like that's a women's score.
There were some worse women's scores yesterday.
31
St. Mary's
points.
beat somebody by like 100.
31 points. No, wasn't that Grand Canyon St. Mary's game?
Somebody beat somebody by 100.
Yeah, whatever. No.
Well, St. Mary men's beat somebody by like 80.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
31 points.
But yeah, James Madison, like, they looked athletic against Michigan State. Like, that should not be easy to do, even if Sparty isn't quite the number 4 team in the nation.
Bickerstaff, the down transfer, looked pretty damn good. Michael Green, big shots. Yeah. They looked good.
The West Coast Conference. So, not its best year this year.
It lost BYU.
Yeah, the top 2 still look good. I think this could be one of St. Mary's best teams. They're my buy this year.
Okay.
Mahaney?
Yep, Mahaney.
Mahaney and Dukas are both good. They've got some size. I like Portland, too. Maybe finish 3rd in that conference.
Okay. Prop bet, does Santa Clara find a random lottery pick?
Every few years, I guess.
Last 2 years.
Yeah.
Williams and AirPods.
I forgot about him.
I'll take Gonzaga to win this.
I got St. Mary's. I'll take it. Why not? I think they'll both finish, 16-2 in conference, probably. So.
I don't see them losing not to each other.
What?
I don't think they'll lose not to each other.
I'll give them 1 each. I think it could happen. I don't know. Either way, they're, I see them pretty much having mirror seasons.
Yeah, quick shout out Thursday at 10 o'clock, St. Mary's, New Mexico. It's a great mid-major game.
All right. The WAC. A little bit more fun this year than usual.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Grand Canyon. Grant Foster had like 30 points yesterday as a down transfer from Kansas. They could be a top 75 kind of team. They could flirt with an at-large this year.
Yeah, I like Grand Canyon. I also Abilene Christian, big win yesterday.
Yep.
Also Utah Valley. I think Madsen did a lot there.
Yeah. I don't hate Seattle this year. Our boy Johnny C coming off the bench, but they're big. Brandon something, I don't even remember. Chetfield, I think is his name.
Okay.
Very efficient, and I don't think that's a league that's going to be able to guard a guy like that super easily.
Mm-hmm.
So watch out for the Red Hawks.
Yeah.
But that wraps up our conference buy-sell champions.
Independence. Do you have
Chicago State's going to win the Independence?
Yeah.
Yep.
I have them finishing last.
Yeah, that too. Yep.
I was talking Independence.
So, also from our mailbag, part of the three-parter, any glaringly underrated teams that jump right out to you this year?
Are we going off KenPom or going off?
Going off perception, I guess.
I think Florida's underrated.
Yeah. Well, I think the consensus has shifted on Florida.
Has it?
Yeah. I mean, I've just seen a lot of love for them lately, but it's in mostly like the online community rather than the big analysts. I don't know. Mine's Iowa State. I think they'll be top 4 in the Big 12 this year.
Okay.
And then mid-major contenders, I think we've kind of touched on this a bit, like not from the Memphis, Gonzaga, St. Mary's family, I guess.
New Mexico, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Mexico.
New
Yeah,
Mexico.
we touched about it along the way.
All right, are you prepared with a top 25?
I am, yeah.
All right, how do you want to do this? Like we each go one at a time, or like we go 25, 25, so on and so forth?
Let's go 1-1.
All right, so from the top down?
Yep.
So
and I'll say again, I'm willing to not do groupthink.
Yep.
You might think like this might look bad. You might think I'm stupid. I don't give a shit. It's
That's
my
fine.
top 25.
It's fine.
All right, number 1, Duke.
I got Purdue.
Number 2,
Kansas.
Kansas.
Okay.
Number 3,
Connecticut.
Marquette.
Number 4, Marquette.
Purdue.
5, Creighton.
Yep.
All right, there we go. 6, I got Duke.
Tennessee.
7, Tennessee.
Arkansas.
8, Arizona.
Houston.
9, Gonzaga.
Baylor.
10, Houston.
Gonzaga.
11, Texas.
Arizona.
12, Arkansas.
Alabama.
Ooh, okay.
I'll figure it out.
13, St. Mary's.
Villanova.
14, Villanova.
Wisconsin.
15, Illinois.
UConn.
16, Miami.
Florida.
17, North Carolina.
Illinois.
18, Atlantic.
USC.
19, Michigan State.
FAU.
20, A&M.
Miami.
21, San Diego State.
Memphis.
22, Kentucky.
USC.
23, Baylor.
New Mexico.
24, Iowa State.
Texas Tech.
25, New Mexico.
Texas A&M.
Oh, all right. So we only had, I think, one each that didn't show up in each other's? Or you had Wisconsin.
Yeah, I also forgot to put Michigan State in there, but tough shit. Shouldn't have lost yesterday. That's what you
Or no,
did.
did you have Carolina?
No, I did not.
Okay,
I
so
also
I
didn't
had
have
Carolina and Kentucky.
I didn't have Texas either.
You didn't have Texas
I
at all?
told you, bubble.
Wow.
I had no Texas, no Carolina, no Kentucky, no Auburn.
I didn't have Auburn. I have them 28th for what that's worth. Florida 29, Boise 27, USC 26. So we had a few differences in there.
Yeah.
I have Alabama lower, like way lower than you, I think. I don't know. I feel like we kind of flipped positions on that. I think when we talked about the schedule, I think I might have been a little higher on them. I don't know. I think that one could go either way. But yeah, Arizona I really like. Gonzaga, I thought. Gonzaga's the interesting team, I think, for me this year. Nemhard and Hickman overlap a little bit, but at the same time, like, you could see them working well together.
That offense could be insane.
It could be, yeah.
Nemhard, Ike. Ike's bucket.
He had Venters, too, Eastern Washington transfer. That's the perfect guy for what they need.
They just need someone to defend that team. They could play
Yeah.
some fucking shootouts.
Yeah, well, Watson was their most efficient player last year, too, which is kind of the crazy. Like, he's their glue guy. He's not a scorer, but he clearly is a facilitator.
What dream scenario, like a Creighton, like 95-90 win over Gonzaga in the Elite Eight?
You think they'd score 90 against us?
Arkansas did.
Yeah, Yeah, that's true. I mean, that was Maui. Everyone shoots better in Maui. I don't know. Houston, I got them 10th. I could see Houston dropping out of the top 25 this year.
I could too.
I like Texas. I agree the coaching's a question. I think if they get anything out of Shedrick, that's going to be a tough team to play against. They'll defend really well. Like, Hunter's a great defender. Asmus isn't, but...
Asmus is... I don't know if they will defend. Asmus is a bad defender.
You defend as a team. That's what I said. Like, they need Shedrick to be a piece this year. Like, he at least needs... Because I don't think he's going to start. They'll probably play a little small, but...
Which... I don't know what the deal is with him, because he kind of randomly didn't play much for Virginia last year, and when he was on the court, he looked good.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, he seemed to be in jail. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Something to watch, I guess.
Yeah, I've talked about why I like Illinois, why I like Miami. North Carolina's interesting to me because remember, like the year they made the national title, that they were not the second best team in the country. That was an 8 seed that went on a run, right? Because they had some streaky players.
They were on the bubble until they won at Duke, honestly.
Yeah. So, like, that's not a great team.
No.
But I think they're going to be closer to that than they were last year. Like, Baycott, for me, is not actually the impact player on that team. Like, it's R.J. Davis for me. He's the one that's going to decide how far they can go.
So here's my counterpoint to that. We agree the ACC's bottom is bad, the conference isn't great. They're non-conference. They play home versus Tennessee, neutral UConn, neutral Kentucky, semi-home Oklahoma. There's potential for 4 losses there.
I don't think they'll lose to Oklahoma.
Say 5-point spread on Cal.
Yeah. I mean, I know which side of that I'd be on, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Northern Iowa to neutral?
I like Ingram. I like Wojcik.
What has Ingram done to make you like him?
He gives them an option on offense. Like, I mean, like how much they missed freaking Brady Manick. They need at least guys who can space the floor a little bit. I think they were too easy to defend last year.
Ingram career 32% 3-point shooter.
Well, Wojcik can shoot it, so at least they got one of them.
And maybe now that he's not under numbnuts Jared Haas.
Yeah. FAU, like, it's always the question with these kind of teams is when is the next Wichita State? Like, when is one of them finally gonna like do the same thing the next year?
Yeah.
They have the option. They have the ability, right? Like, returning their production.
Yeah. So
you can at least give them the chance, but at the same time, I think they're gonna get beaten up a couple of times. They won't be bad, like 22-8 or something like that.
Talent,
but
too well coached.
yeah. I don't know. The SEC's pretty wide open for me. A&M could do it. I like Arkansas more, I think, this year than I did last year, which is weird because I think they had more talent last year.
I love Brazil.
Yeah.
I think if Brazil's healthy all last year, Arkansas is a top 5 team.
Yeah. Well, we said it, right? We said it right after Maui. We said,
watched them.
Yeah.
I still think that Arkansas team is one of the most talented teams I watched all year.
Yeah, I agree with you. But last year's Arkansas team was more talented than this year's Arkansas team. But
Yeah,
I don't know, something about either the construction or the opportunity in the SEC maybe this year, I think they'll win it.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's what we had. Final 4, Mr. Dennis.
Got Purdue, Duke, Marquette, and Arkansas, with Duke beating Purdue.
Okay. I went St. Mary's, Purdue, Creighton, and Arizona, with Purdue beating Arizona in the final. I think that would just be a perfect scenario for us to lose in Phoenix to Arizona.
Yeah, I don't have Kansas in my Final Four. I think this is a much better regular season team. Really, their only shooters, Nicholas Timberlake, a CAA up transfer.
Right.
I think Self's a great coach, but I think they're going to run a lot through Dickinson down low. And
He does not scream tournament hero to
The
me.
tournament's shown lately.
Yeah.
You can scheme a good big man out of the game. So that was one of my other predictions was Kansas wins the Big 12 semi-easily, does not make the Final Four.
Yeah.
I think doesn't make the Elite Eight. Real quick, my other, just for clarity's sake, Wisconsin top 15 team, UConn does not finish top 3 in the Big East. South Carolina finishes outside the top 150. Kansas wins Big 12, does not make Elite 8. Buying Texas Tech, Florida, and Clemson. Texas and Kentucky are big letdowns and do not get top 8 tournament seeds. Michigan State finishes outside the top 15. Duke wins the title. Purdue makes the Final Four. Trayvon Brazile, All-American. Filipowski, Player of the Year. Kenny Payne fired before the new year.
Okay. All right, so if that did not cover anything we could possibly talk about, I don't know what would. We could certainly have gone more in depth on each conference, but for an hour and 10 minutes of discussion, we jammed a hell of a lot in there. Anything else before we close out, Mr. Dennis?
Don't think so, no.
All right, well, Jay's game tonight. This probably won't come out until tomorrow, though, so we'll see everybody next time. If you have questions for us or if you have anything else that you want us to address, we'll always try to answer them live, so feel free to drop either of us a reply or DM at any time. So this has been Dennis and the Doc. For Mr. Dennis Thomanos, I have been Dr. Chim Richolds. Thank you for listening.